What would you say to someone who's just starting out?
Surround yourself with successful individuals like I did. Surrounding yourself with people that have been successful in that space that actually care about you succeeding as well. Check your ego at the door. And when they say jump, get out a trampoline and say, how high do you want me to jump? It's simple as that.
Real estate's been proven for hundreds of years. Like, just follow the script. It's there. Like, just go do what everyone else has done. Don't need to reinvent the wheel. Don't need to read another book.
Yes, real estate is proven. I think the statistic is 90% of millionaires own some part of real estate outside their home. Welcome to another episode of Straight Up Chicago Investor Podcast. I'm your guest, Alex Filin, and with me are your hosts, Mark and Tom.
I like it.
That was good.
You came a long way in the last 30 seconds.
Yeah, that was
good.
Yeah, increments of improvement. We're totally there.
Like, you guys are laughing. I had to keep my
I like how like our guest today is super polished, like you can tell does a lot of interviews, and then we make them do this and they fumble like they're in sixth grade again. It's hilarious.
Yeah, no, that was great. I love that.
All right, well, our guest today, this is gonna be a good one, and grew up, in communism before coming here. We wanted him to do this in Russian. Well, hopefully, maybe get a blooper of that as well.
Yep.
So we've had multiple immigrants on here, and it's the same story every time. You come here, like, all of us who are born here, we don't realize just the opportunity and how easy it really is when you put the effort and time into it.
Yeah, the effort and time, and you hit it right on the head. The reps, and we use the word reps here today, but we talked a little bit about making so many calls, doing so many different activities every day, and you actually track those reps and you get those done no matter what you're doing. We're at episode 300 and whatever this is. Like, we put in the reps, and that is what pays off for us by just showing up every single week for 5 years almost.
Yeah, deferring immediate gratification for the long game. Like, it's so simple when you say it. It's so hard to actually do in your daily life.
It's tough because the dream is less of the dream these days, because the dream just ends up not existing because you want something tomorrow. So, and we talk a lot about this today. It's a great episode. I love having. This kind of puts things in perspective for a lot of our listeners of really just some of the easy tactical things they could do to just get where they want to get faster.
Yeah. All right. What's our housing priority tip of the week?
All right. So our housing priority tip of the week, man, this is sad kind of. And our guests could probably relate to the story. Someone reached out to me last week. They fell victim to the wire scam. They went to send.
Oh, man.
It was $93,000. They sent it, and ultimately, the story was they got an email after the attorney sent the email. They didn't call the title company to verify, and they lost that $93,000. I don't think they have any chance of getting it back. And at this point, I don't know what ways are these days, but I know up until recently, you send that money, it's gone, and you're not. No one's cutting that check for you.
Dude, always call. Always call.
So you get the wire transfer. You call the title company. Heck, I even make the people in my office call twice. Like, hang up, call again, make sure you get the person's name, go on their website, make sure that person really works there. Like, just do whatever you can to make sure. Like, that's probably one of the scariest things about real estate investing to me, is that you could send your life savings away and never see it again.
What's interesting about that is the FBI will do absolutely nothing if it's under $1 million.
Yeah.
That's the crazy
it might
part.
be your personal savings, but for them, it's
nothing.
A blimp in the radar.
$999,000. They're not doing a damn thing.
So that hits home, and I hope the person that told me that story is not listening to it, because they hear me rubbing this in their face of it happening.
No,
so,
it's a learning lesson for everyone else.
Yeah, but all right, man. Let's dive right in. Today's guest, we got an immigrant, we got an athlete, we got a coach, we got a successful lender, we got a successful burr, all these great things. All right, Alex, man, thanks for coming out here.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
We originally had this set up a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
And we canceled on you.
Yep.
And we canceled you, if I remember correctly, it was a couple of days. It might have been the last minute. So first of all, I apologize on air for that.
No worries.
But, it was easy to cancel because I didn't know who you were at that point. I think someone in our production team set this up. And then I ended up hearing you on 𝗤𝘃𝗏𝗃𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 podcast. And you're just very inspirational. And I'm excited to have you on here today.
I appreciate that. That means the world. Thank you.
You didn't grow up in this country, or you didn't start in this country, I guess. Can you tell us your background of where you came from?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was born in Riga, Latvia, which is a former Soviet Union country, communism. Grew up speaking Russian. And at the age of 6, my family and I immigrated here. It's a special day in my heart for obvious reasons. It's March 8th, 1990, which is Women's Day. It's not very celebrated here in America, but it's very celebrated in Europe. So that was a big day. And what's interesting is I took my father out for Father's Day the night before, and we had dinner, and I just was asking him all these questions of why did we leave? What kind of jobs did you have? All that stuff. Being 40 years old, I'm very interested in that, having my own family, having a daughter that's 7 years old now, similar age to when I came here. And, he just explained to me after the Berlin Wall fell in 1989, all these individuals that owned businesses became millionaires overnight. Because prior to that, when, Soviet Union, communism, they managed and were responsible for all the businesses, and kind of, everybody was the same. And things got weird. Our apartment was robbed. My dad kind of knew who it was, approached him, and he said, "You're lucky nobody was there. They would have killed them." And that's when he knew, let's get the hell out of here, and move to a better opportunity through people he had connections with that were already here. So it was definitely interesting coming here. I remember like it was yesterday. The first spot was on Dearborn in Division, a high rise with a pool up top. And I remember my parents, drinking vodka, celebrating, and I'm crying like a little boy in the closet. It's funny when I tell that story because my wife, who's in special education, she's like, "That's trauma." I'm like, "That's not trauma. That's a dream." Like, I didn't know any better at the time, but it was, looking back at it, I'm like, I don't think that's trauma now. I think of it as my parents did what they had to do for a better life, and it's worked out well.
Well, it's crazy when you hear stories like that. So to me, it always makes me realize that we really don't know what real problems are.
Dude, we're born on third base here.
Yeah,
and then we bitch about little things.
But that makes it tough as a parent for me sometimes, because like you start like coming down on your kid for like not real, but they don't know any better, and then I have to stop myself sometimes. Like, you have real feelings, and you're really feeling that way, not realizing that I just have a different view of it. So it makes it tough.
Absolutely, and it definitely helps whenever I deal with problems. Is I've learned to take a step back and say, okay, is this really a big problem? How could we handle it? How could we approach it? How could I be a role model for my 7-year-old daughter to make sure she doesn't do the things I used to do that I would think are called mistakes now? You learn from each other and you pass it down. So just trying to be the best father I can be. So
you didn't speak English?
Not a single. Well, I lie when I say not a single word. I knew okay. I remember vividly jumping on the bed saying just okay, okay. And it makes me laugh because I'm just thinking that with a picture in my mind, and I have some pictures of back in the day, and I just laugh about. But did not know English at all. So what's funny about that is we're all around the same age. If you guys remember Hooked on Phonics.
Oh yeah.
That's literally how
Hooked
I learned
on Phonics
it.
works for me.
Exactly. It worked for me. Like, my parents would put me in a room and they didn't know any English, and here's this tape, and I'd get made fun of at school. I'd get bullied at school for my accent at the time. But now you look at me, you hear me talk, you wouldn't be able to tell I was born in a different country.
Did you speak Russian?
I still speak fluent Russian.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's my secret weapon, especially if I catch some people talking shit. I love it. And whenever I meet somebody or hear an accent or anything like that, I always inquire, where are you from? Are you originally from here? And I have a good ear for it. And then I'll start speaking Russian to them, and they kind of like look at me like, what the? So I like doing that, messing with people.
That's one of my motivations for Spanish. Just so the guys can't talk shit. I love walking in a room and say, "Come on, man, why'd you say that?" And then I'll say it in English, and they'll be like, "But yeah, I'm doing my Duolingo. That's the modern day Hooked on Phonics, I guess."
There you go.
Talk to us though. Like, all right, we're learning English. You're going through grammar school. What's life like coming in call it high school, right?
Yeah.
You start to develop as a person. You start to realize, like, did you start to, I don't want to say fit in more, but like, was it a quote unquote normal upbringing, or what were some maybe differences that have shaped you today?
I'd say it was a lucky and fortunate upbringing, looking back at it now. If I explain it to certain people, some people might feel bad for me. Some people might like, "Ooh, that's rough." I do get a little emotional about it because it's so important to me. But for me, sorry, mom and dad, but I was left home alone at the age of 6. And it was perfectly fine back then because my parents had to do whatever they had to do to get by. And literally they had $640 to their name. So I remember, from school sprinting home to get home for two reasons. One, I was scared shitless. And two, I wanted to watch Saved by the Bell. One of my favorite shows back then.
4:30.
So it was a unique and interesting upbringing. To answer your question is I'm a big dude now, right? I'm 6'3", 220. I could throw hands if I need to and whatnot, and I haven't in a long time and have no plans for it. But I always have a chip on my shoulder because I was bullied. And that's one of the reasons I'm such a nice person to everyone I meet. I don't look down on people. I don't talk down to people. I don't yell at people. I step in when I see inappropriate conversations or somebody mistreating somebody. And the main reason for that is I was bullied typically, I would say, from 6 to 10 because of my accent, because kids are assholes. And that's just the way it is, right? What changed, to answer your question, Tom, is sports. I'm a freak athlete. And it clicked for me at a young age. Kids started being nice to me when I was playing sports at gym, at recess, whatever it was. And I noticed that. And it gave me a fire. It gave me a motivation inside to do better, to do better, to do better. And then I crushed it in AYSO, leading goal scorer, made friends. I'm like, this is awesome. I was the only child too, which I have a unique story about that as well. Was the only child, not anymore. So I would say right around 10, I really got into sports, playing soccer. And then to answer your question, when I came into high school, I had a lot more friends through playing basketball and growing up in 𝗬𝗃𝗃𝗀𝗃, which I like to call Scompton because it's kind of the hood a little bit. And I have a lot of close friends, and those friends took care of me, and it's a melting pot. So there's so much different cultures, so much different nationalities that has truly educated me and shaped me to be the man I am today, that I can have conversations with anyone from this world pretty much because I've experienced it where I grew up in 𝗬𝗃𝗃𝗀𝗃. So that's why I say it was very unique. I was very lucky to have the experience I did, and it made me the man I am today.
Yep. So, I mean, obviously, you look like an athlete, and then you played D1 at ISU, right? We
Yeah.
were just off air here. We were talking. I actually remember the game where you guys came into Champaign, should have beat Illinois.
Yeah.
Outplayed them. We're the same age.
Yeah.
When did that become a reality? Like, oh man, I can go to college and play sports. Like in high school, this is my path, or?
I think it was, I would say beginning of sophomore year, because I was called up to play varsity with two of my other closer friends, and we played varsity. And to be honest, 2 out of the 3 of us didn't want to because we were so tight knit with our crew. And it was cool. I got to know those, guys that were 2 years older that I still consider friends to this day. They brought me in. They didn't bully me. They messed around with me. They took care of me, but never crossed the line of anything silly or anything like that. And I'm forever grateful for that, because the same thing happened in college. And then I was able to pass it on in high school and college, of just taking the younger players, seeing the talented ones or seeing the ones that are a little timid or shy, whatever it was, just putting my arm around them and saying, hey, dude, it's okay. Like, hey, let's give it another try. Because I've been on both sides, right? I've been bullied, and I've been the #1 All-State guy, in my high school that was put on a pedestal, but I never treated it that way because I saw both sides of it. So it was around sophomore year of high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then coming out of ISU, you're 21, 22 years old. Did you have any idea what you're going to do as a profession?
I had no clue. I just, like any collegiate athlete, they want to go pro. And I literally thought I could. I thought I had the talent. I just never found a position in college. And that's not an excuse. It just is what it is, and I'm perfectly fine with it. So I redshirted. So I came out when I was 23. So, my last year was 2006. I was in grad school for 1 year, went to a career fair, and found, that to this day I still consider a mentor named 𝗬𝗃𝗃𝗀𝗃 that was at New York Life. And for the first 8.5 years of my career, I was a financial advisor and partner with New York Life, doing life insurance, financial products, and kind of about that coach we were talking about earlier, similar to that.
Yep. Yeah. All right, so you're out there, you're hustling though. Like there's
Hustling.
Just your own book of business. Here's a phone book. What's your network? Go get it.
Exactly. More the latter of the network. And thankfully I was very connected through sports, made good relationship, was never a hole to, people that I cared about or anybody really. So I was able to call them. They knew my name. They knew who I were, and at least give me the time of day. At least most people. Some people didn't call me back. That hurt. That hurt.
Selling life insurance to people in their 20s is tough.
I would say if you
Yeah.
could be successful selling life insurance at any age, you could be successful in any sales job.
Yeah.
And it gave me a lot of confidence. But the cool thing is to this day, I'm strictly about education, right? I don't like to be sold. I don't like to sell. I like to lead with education, right? I think we're all grown. We can make our own decisions. And that's the angle I took with life insurance. And I have plenty of friends that still have it to this day. Me being 40 now, majority of our friends have kids where, you know, it's not just the death benefit, but it's also the cash value that's extremely important. And that's how I bought my first home. At the age of 28, I took the cash value out of my policy to put down as a down payment. And I share that story a lot where, you know, there's a lot of benefits to it.
Yeah, we've talked about that on the episode here about what to do with that money.
Yeah, we had Midland on. I can't remember the episode name, obviously, but we'll link to it in the show notes. But it's in the earlier you can start, the more powerful it is. Like you start to see it, you know, we're all like at 40, like, oh, I have all this. Here, I got money I can use, right?
Yeah.
Big time. It's tax free.
It's not like a 401k loan either, where you're borrowing against you. That the policy is the asset. It's like a
100%.
HELOC on the asset. It's so it's
100%.
so powerful.
Yep.
So, all right, why make the move out of it? Sounds like it was going well.
It was going very well. I'm not shy when I say this. It was one individual that was just a bad seed. He came in. He was a managing partner. I won't name names, but I'm extremely ethical. I have a lot of integrity. I'm big into golf now. Some of my friends call me Mr. Integrity because I follow the rules to a T. And it's just
I'm not golfing with you.
Oh no! If we're not betting, you do you. You drop however many balls you want. You know, put your score however you want. But if we're betting or we're in a tournament, it's like, hey, that's the whole game. The whole point of the game is integrity. But besides the point, this individual was just a rotten egg. You know, came in, was unethical. I was in management. We'd have management meetings. He'd be all fake to everybody. As soon as people leaves, he'd talk to me like one of the bros, one of the athletes, which I understand with all the background we just talked about. But it's just like, dude, I'm a human being first. I care about people. You can't just talk shit about people's behinds backs and then lie to their face. So, you know, quick little story with that is it was August 2015. I went golfing with my best friend since third grade, who's actually my biggest bully. So he bullied me the most, made fun of me the most, but in a caring way, in a loving way, and cared about me. But he was that guy, and I joke about it all the time. And to this day, he's one of my best friends. And another guy named Amir, who Justin worked for. And we were golfing, and I wear my heart on my sleeve. So they're like, dude, what's wrong? You're usually happy, you're upbeat, you're joking around, like you seem down, what's going on? And I explained. And Amir took that opportunity right there to recruit me. And he's just like, you see your buddy there? You see that watch he got on? You know how much that watch is? You know how much he made last month? I'm like, all right, I'm listening. I'm like, I don't care about the watch, but I just want to provide for me and my family that, you know, trying to start with my wife. And Amir and I talked for 2 hours in the Harborside parking lot on the golf course there. And then that was August. And then in end of November, I resigned from New York Life and decided to go into mortgages. And the best business decision I ever made in my life.
All right, so it's 2015. Start selling mortgages. And is this residential, commercial, just whatever you can get?
Strictly residential.
Strictly residential.
Yeah,
All right,
no
so
commercial.
again, we're going back to the network.
Yep.
We're building the book of business that way.
Yep.
What would be like the biggest challenge? It seems like a pretty parallel shift there, right? A lot of parallels to what you were doing, but there had to be some stumbling blocks.
Big time. I think the biggest thing is ego, right? Everyone has an ego, right? I think it's, you know, me being successful high school athlete, me getting a full scholarship, being a successful collegiate football player, me going to New York Life and winning all sorts of awards and being successful there, and social media is coming up and people see that, and that's kind of a lot of the relationships with certain people from high school. And then all of a sudden it's like, boom, you're 30, 31 and there's a career change, right? That's a tough pill to swallow. Like it takes cojones to do that, number one, but two, reach out to certain people and reach out to them. So shout out to 𝗵𝗶𝗶𝗵𝗁, shout out to Justin Lopatin. They're the ones that guided me through it. They're the ones that Amir specifically coached me, right, and told me exactly what to do. And then I followed Justin's lead because he was running a successful team, and I just plugged in, right? I shadowed his meetings. He shadowed my meetings. And what Amir told me to do is it's called The Chosen One, right? It's a cool little script, and I recommend this for anyone in any business. And how it goes is, Mark, say you and I connect, you know, we haven't talked in a couple of years. I reach out and I say, hey, Mark, you know, you're a successful guy. I'm sure a lot of people come to you for advice. If somebody came to you and said, hey, I want to refinance or buy a home, do you have a go-to mortgage lender, right? And if you were to say no, all I'm asking is, can I be that guy? I want to be your guy. I want to be your mortgage guy. So if somebody does come to you, please refer him or her to me. I'd be honored to help. And I did that over and over and over in coffee meetings and lunch meetings and drinks. And that was literally the first 6 months of my career. And I don't think I closed a loan until April of 2016. So it was hard.
I love that. You weren't asking for the business, you're asking for the opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yeah, buy me a bats, baby.
Yeah,
That's all.
a bat, yeah.
That's all I was doing. And I laid my hat on the reputation I had, the network I had, the person I was. Going back to the integrity, going back to the ethics, is I didn't do people wrong. I didn't treat them poorly. So the way I looked at it is I earned over time that opportunity just to have a conversation with them and catch up. And some worked out, some didn't. But my business built quickly, obviously with the help of the market. In 2018, 2019, it was good. And then 20 and 21 really took off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone who's just starting out? Like, we have a lot of people interested in real estate. We have a lot of people who probably became lenders when they could just refi it out, right? Like, just living off refis. That spigot's turned off.
Yep.
They're probably debating, is this for me right now?
Yeah.
What advice would you give that person?
Surround yourself with successful individuals like I did. I could have easily said, screw everybody. I'm gonna figure this out on my own. I've been successful before. I'll do it again. I had no idea what the hell mortgages were. I did, right? The cool part is Justin and I had a great relationship because he was doing mortgages from 2006. I entered New York Life 2007. And we probably sent each other 10 to 20 deals back and forth a year because we would sit down, we would meet regularly. Hey, what questions are you asking your clients? What questions am I asking my clients? What do you want me to ask? Here's what I want you to ask, right? If you're a financial advisor, you're asking, do you own a home? Great. What's your interest rate? How long do you want to be here for? Do you plan to sell or buy anytime soon? If you don't own a home, you rent. Okay. Do you have aspirations about buying? Why do you want to buy? Have you talked to a mortgage lender? Can I connect you with one? Vice versa, right? As a mortgage advisor, you're seeing all their assets. Hey, I see you have $100,000 laying around. Do you have a financial advisor? Hey, I see you have kids. Do you have life insurance? Have you talked to a financial advisor about that? So I knew the business a decent amount because of my relationship, and we were genuinely helping people by helping each other, right? And all my success goes to that because they showed me the way. The one thing I am is coachable. Right? More like my dad who was in the Russian army and the military and everything like that. If I know where your heart is at and you're going to tell me something, you could cuss me out and tell me. And that goes back to the athletics. I'm listening to what you said because I know where your heart is at and you care about me, right? So to answer your question, Tom, it's surrounding yourself with people that have been successful in that space that actually care about you succeeding as well. Check your ego at the door. And when they say jump, get out a trampoline and say, how high do you want me to jump? It's simple as that.
Yeah, it's so easy. We talk about this all the time in investing. Like, real estate's been proven for hundreds of years. Like, just follow the script. It's there. Like, just go do what everyone else has done. Don't need to reinvent the wheel. Don't need to read another book. Like, it's there. It's on the table. Just go do it. And I don't know. You're speaking to the choir here.
Yeah, and other things are coming, from it. I agree. Don't fix it if it ain't broke. But then there's other cool things coming out, right? Airbnb arbitrage now, right? The 𝗏 method, which you guys had a couple that was former school teachers, right? I watched that episode a little bit, and they're in the 𝗏 method now, which I'm in the process of. So yes, real estate is proven. I think the statistic is 90% of millionaires own some part of real estate outside their home. So couldn't agree with you more there.
In addition to being a lender, you were actually doing coaching for lenders. Tell us a little bit about how you got into that and what that actually is.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's kind of tying everything in, right? Is I consider myself the true guinea pig, and Amir and Justin have said that before, right? So Amir coached me for 8.5 years. The last 8.5 years, I've been a mortgage advisor. I still get coached by him. And I want to say we're in 2024. It was the end of 2021, beginning of 2022. Justin had the idea of mortgage advisors are lost and confused mainly because of COVID, right? COVID, everyone worked from home. And I loved it because it changed my life. I've been working from home ever since. As mentioned, I have a 7-year-old daughter. I've watched her grow up. Prior to COVID, I would leave the house to go beat traffic, go to the gym, work out before she woke up. I wouldn't get home till 6 or 7. I'd have an hour maybe with her, then she's going to bed. If I could go back and change that, I would, because I would have loved to see her grow up. But from the age of 3 up until now, the best part of my day is her walking into my office when she wakes up. The best part of my day is when she comes home, hanging out with her and just being around. So Justin had the idea of everyone's at home. There's no camaraderie. You can't go to the guy or girl next door and say, hey, how do I do this? How do I do this? People are having call reluctance. They're confused. They're lost. And Justin approached Amir about starting this coaching company. So they started a coaching company called Growth Only in early 2022. And then in early 2023, it was end of January, beginning of February, Amir approached me about becoming the first coach at Growth Only. And I was honored, and it made a lot of sense because Amir showed me the roadmap. And I had quick success. I went from 0 to 95 million in 5 years. And Amir to this day says he's never seen anyone do that before, right? And I owe that all to him because he told me exactly what to do and I listened, right? So that's how it started. Now it's the #1 coaching company in the country, which is great. And all the coaches, I think we have 8 coaches now, every single one of us produces. And that's the difference compared to a lot of different coaching companies where, you know, they've been out of the business for 5-10 years. And the business has evolved. Like, things have changed about how you do business. So it's been unique. It's been really cool. And to be honest, I've learned so much from coaching other students all over the country, from California to Delaware to Florida to Texas to Kentucky to areas I've never heard about. And the questions they ask and the things they're doing, I'm learning so much from it. It's pretty cool.
I love it. I always encourage people that if they have the opportunity to go present to somebody, to teach a class, to lead a discussion, coach, you learn so much.
Big time.
You're not just taking all the knowledge and just giving it to them or helping them gain that knowledge. You're learning. You learn more than a lot of times actually being out there doing it. So
100%.
What makes, it's a good question. This could be for anybody. What makes somebody coachable?
That's a great question. I would say the desire to succeed is #1, and the trust in the person coaching them. I would say those are the 2 things. Is you want to be able to have that desire that, hey, I'm investing in myself with somebody that knows what they're doing, and I trust them to coach me, right? I've had some students that are bucking the system. I said, dude, you're paying thousands of dollars a month to do this. I've done this. I've been coached. I am the blueprint. Have you succeeded before? No. So why are you giving me pushback on what I'm advising you to do, right? So I would say that it's just the desire and having the right people around you.
With coaching, it opens up people to have to reflect on tough things or things that they might not like about themselves. How often do you see that to be challenges people can't overcome?
You know, what's interesting is I would say over the last 6 months, I've been more of a therapist than a coach. You know, a lot of people are struggling financially, big time. And something I like to talk about a lot and I'm comfortable talking about, it's men's health, right? It's so many men are, you know, they're macho, they're afraid to talk, they're afraid to be vulnerable. And that's one thing I learned at a very young age is the more vulnerable you are, the closer connection you can make with somebody. And when you're vulnerable with somebody, it allows them to open up a little bit to you and share things they might have not told you, right? So I would say it's been tough the last, 6 to 12 months, but specifically the last 6 months, just because the market is the market, right? Low supply, high rates, they're at home, they're having call reluctance, and it's just like, hey, this is why you joined this community. With that, we have 680 students now all over the country. It's crazy.
That's awesome. You've used that word twice, call reluctance. Just break it down. What is that?
You're putting the no in your head before you even pick up the phone. They don't want to talk to me. They're not going to pick up. They're already, they're already taken care of. And it's just psyching yourself out before you even pick up the phone. And that, I think, has been expanded over the last 2 years because of the market we're in, right? During COVID, when you're at home, it's okay. Rates are low. There's still homes available. People are refinancing. People are buying. And then boom, all of a sudden we're at 7%, 8%. People are scared. They don't know what to do, right? So it's just that negative thought in your head before you even pick up the phone. And that's why coaching is needed, whatever industry you're in, right? It's like athletes. Why do they watch film? To see what they did good or bad, and for the coach to yell at you a lot, right? But that's what we do, is we track everything we do. Like, I am required to have 60 great conversations a week. I'm required to meet with 5 people in person or in Zoom over a break bread. I'm required to go to 1 event a week. I'm required to have 15 face-to-face conversations with individuals about what I do. And we track it all. Because if we can't track it, how am I supposed to coach you? How am I supposed to say what's wrong? You had 5 rate lock calls, 5 opportunities to lock in a client, lock in a rate to move forward, right? And you only locked in 1. Well, if you keep track, that gives me an opportunity to say, ooh, you're not a great closer. What's going on? What are you saying, or what are you not saying? You know, and that gives us the opportunity to coach them up.
Yep. So you mentioned there's over 600 students here, probably from all walks of life.
Yeah.
Who is the bread and butter? Like, someone listening to this, like, who is teed up where, yes, like this coaching program makes perfect sense for them?
That's a great question. And I don't think there's one specific category or individual. We have individuals in their 50s and 60s that, are just lost and confused in the modern day, right? So what we train at Growth Only is combining the traditional loan officer, hit the phones hard, go meet people in person, hit the events, to the modern day loan officer. Social media, putting yourself on virtual shelves. Justin talks about that a lot, right? What are those virtual shelves? Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, TikTok, right, which is kind of controversial right now, and getting stuff out there, just like we're doing this podcast, right? We're doing this podcast, we're having a great conversation. Where are you putting it? On different social media shelves for people to see it, right? So for me, I spend a lot of time on my social media to put my product out there strictly on education, not sales. And what I teach my students and taught the community is, hey, when I'm on the phone with a client, middle of conversation, I just kind of feel it out. Say, hey, out of curiosity, are you on Instagram? Yeah, I am. So great. I have a great Instagram account with lots of knowledge, a lot of short 30 to 60 minute or 30 to 60 second videos strictly on education. Do you mind if we connect? Like, yeah, absolutely. Every time I talk to somebody, every time I see somebody that I haven't seen in a while, bro, your videos, bro, you're crushing it on the videos, right? And I love that, but it just gets your name out. So there's really no perfect student for us. It's individuals that just got started, individuals that have been 3 to 5 years in the business, have tried different coaching programs, and we're unique and we're different, we're relatable, and combining traditional and modern. And then we have individuals that have been in the business 30 years, and they're just hitting their head against a wall saying, okay, I need help. And they love the program because it is truly a community.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. All right, so obviously we're doing well with the lending. We're doing well with the program. We finally started purchasing, right? Mm-hmm. We were starting to get some assets. Talk to us about this, because this is exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. This is, in my opinion, a very cool and unique story. Is as I get a little leg cramp. So I have an individual who's become a really good friend, and he's a realtor that's been referring me business for the last 5 or 6 years. And over the last 5, 6 years, I've noticed those individuals that buy with me, they come back 6 to 12 months later and they're doing a cash out refinance. And I read the room well. I have emotional intelligence. I see what's going on. I'm like, I call them up. I'm like, dude, what's your secret? What's going on? How are all the clients you're sending me, every single one is coming back and cash out refinancing with me 6 to 12 months? Number one, thank you. I appreciate you.
Yeah,
I appreciate your low.
I never even thought about that from the loan officer standpoint. Like, oh, cool. It's
amazing. But then I just reached out to him. I said, dude, what are you doing? And he simplified it. He's like, he looks for slightly distressed properties that need 5, 10, 15, maybe 20K of work, right? Fix it up and then take that money out. So pretty much the Burr method, right? So I'll give you my exact example. I bought in November 2022, 1 bed, 1 bath condo in the South Loop. It was a foreclosure for $173,000. We get it for $173,000. I do a full gut rehab. And he even tells me, like, dude, you don't need everything new. And I'm like, if I'm doing the Burr method, I'm putting a renter in there, like, I want everything new. right? I don't want to deal with problems. I don't want to get a call, my washing machine, my dryer, this, that. Like, I don't want to deal with that. So I invested a little bit more money. So I'm in for 173 plus 17, 190, right? After repair value, right? ARV, right? It's going for 250 right now. I'm in the process of doing a cash out refinancing, taking all my down payment down 25%, which was like 42,000, 17,000, let's round up to 60, getting all that money back so that way I could put it into the next investment.
Yeah.
And now I'm getting into some flipping as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hey, you got your free condo now.
Exactly. And the best part is I have the best tenant ever. He's a divorce cop, a detective for the CPD, right? Needs a place in Chicago because whether you're a cop or a teacher, you got to have an address in the city. And he literally tells me he's there 4 or 5 nights a month. And I'm like, this is great.
Perfect.
Signed an 18-month lease, calls me, he said, hey, are you jacking up the rent? Because I need to know if I'm re-signing or not. I'm like, oh, why don't we do $50, 9 months and 9 months, $100 over 18 months. He's like, done. Send me the contract. Boom. Got him for another 18 months. So it's been amazing, simple. He sends me the money 2 days early, sends me a text message with it. I'm like, is this real? Yeah. So you hear all the horror stories, right? And I got super lucky with this guy.
So knowing the business on the cash out, and you've probably fixed yourself into a 30-year term, is there any playing with the rates, buying it down? Do you do anything creative knowing what you know?
No, not as much for investment properties, right? I'm a big fan of the 2-1 buy down. I think that's the best product there is, period, ever in mortgages, especially in this rate environment.
Explain the 2-1 buy down just in case anyone's coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's, for simple numbers, right? Say the rate today is 7%, right? A 2-1 buy down means that the first year the rate is going to be 2% lower. So in this example, it's going to be 5% the first year. It's going to be 6% the second year, and the beginning of the third year, it's going to go up to 7%. Now, why are we doing this? The whole point we're doing this is to get a lower rate in the highest interest rate environment over the last 23 years. That's a huge win. Now, by the time it gets to the third year, right, there's predictions, expectations that rates are going to come down. Well, as rates come down, you're going to want to refinance, right? Now, the one catch to it is there's a cost to it. The cost is the exact amount of money you're saving. So let's say the cost is $10,000. The catch to it is the seller has to pay for it. So you have to get a seller credit. So I have a deal going on right now that's negotiating for a single family home in Nashville, Tennessee, right? Connected with the realtor reached out like, hey, we want to do a 2-1 buy down. We think we could get it below list price. What's the cost of the 2-1 buy down? And the cost was $10,300. I say, hey, just round up to $11,000. They asked for $11,000 credit. The seller provides it, no problem. I've never had an issue with the seller saying no. Because at the end of the day, say they're submitting an offer, say the agreed price is $500. So the offer would be $511 with an $11,000 credit, netting $500. You still get to the same result for the seller. Makes no difference. But what you're doing as a buyer is you're increasing your mortgage by that $11,000 or 80% of $11,000, 90% of $11,000, whatever your down payment is. So your mortgage payment's going up, what, $50, $75? But then you're saving $600, $700, $800 the first year with the rate being 2% lower. You're saving $300 the second year.
Correct. And then you're fixed on that third year, right? That's the thing people don't realize. I think it's misinterpreted that it's just some 3-year arm or 5-year. What if I don't refi? No, like you are in at the rate that you would have gotten today.
Yeah,
like
there is no downside whatsoever.
Correct. As long as you get the seller to get the credit going, it's absolutely worth it.
So,
and even when things are hot right now, so like as if you're selling, you don't really have to do this as much. But when things were steady, we got caught when rates first jumped. And we started pricing in our head like, all right, let's just jack up our price 10 grand, knowing we can then offer the seller credit and the numbers work better.
Big time.
Right? Like just every time, just inflated it to account for it. And that's how we got some of them done.
Yeah,
so the true benefit, the buyer, to kind of reword this is they're basically able to pay, in your example, $10,000 less in the next 24 months and spread that over the next 30 years, basically.
Over 24 months. The savings.
Yeah, it's 2 years. Yeah. So they'll save money they'll save that over 2 years and it kind of spread it out. And that just helps right now in this environment. And then you're rolling the dice on the opportunity of like, hey, I'll pay less now because there's a good chance rates might come down. But if it doesn't, worst case scenario, I'm locked in for 30 years at 7.
100%. I mean, you guys know this as well as I do, right? I just see it more as a mortgage advisor. Most people have a budget. Most people want to be below a certain amount monthly, right? So it's funny when I say, what am I pre-approved for? Well, you're pre-approved for $3,000 a month. Well, what do you mean? Well, can't you give me a home price? It's like, not really. Like, yeah, you're pre-approved for $500,000 if your taxes are below X, but if your taxes go above X, right, your monthly payment's a little higher, your debt to income ratio, and then you don't qualify. So for me specifically, I asked the $1 million question. What is your ideal comfortable monthly mortgage payment? Where are you drawing the line in the sand saying, I'm not going higher than this, because it allows me to reverse engineer it and advise you on the purchase price, the property taxes, the HOA if you're looking at a condo, so on and so forth.
People are buying a mortgage payment versus a sale price these days.
100%.
And it's been like that for probably the last decade.
Yeah, and the 2-1 buy down or 1-0 buy down, or actually have a closing early next week. First time ever, I'm doing a 3-2-1 buy down. They're going to be in the fours.
Credit, yeah.
It's a big credit. But the only way we were able to do is they're buying their sister's home. So they were able to negotiate it. And the crazy part is we got what's called a property inspection waiver, meaning we didn't even need to do an appraisal. So the home already appraised out before even doing an appraisal, and the credit worked. So they're saving over $1,000 their first year. And then when rates drop, boom, they refinance, take advantage of it.
Home appraisal waiver, like that makes you feel like 2007 again.
Yeah. Real quick, I want to go back to the BRRRR. We started talking about the buy down before that.
Yeah.
What's I think investors miss this a lot. Cash out refi.
Yeah.
Ballpark, what is that premium compared to a purchase? Is that 0.5%? Is it a quarter? Is it roughly the same? Because people will underwrite it if they're purchased at 7 and they get shocked that, oh wait, on the cash out it's 7.5 or whatever. I don't want to throw numbers out there.
But
it's
you
a
referring
different
to
product.
Closing costs or interest rate?
I'm talking about the actual interest rate.
Right. Oh, interest rate is refinance is about 1/8 higher.
Okay, on a cash out on a residential, it's not much.
Cash out's about 0.25% higher compared to if you're purchasing
so
a
it's
home.
not that dramatic.
No, not dramatic at all, and it makes all the sense in the world. It's all numbers. Like I had a great conversation yesterday with individuals that bought in September of last year. Worst time to buy. They have an 8% interest rate, and then we were looking at saying, hey, if you refinance now, you could save $150 a month. But here's my strategy is, hey, instead of saving $150 a month, are you comfortable with your payment? Yes, we're comfortable with our payment. Great. Let's refinance to a 25-year fixed. Let's shave 4 years off your mortgage. Let's keep the same payment, shave 4 years off your mortgage, and you're saving $112,000 over the next 25 years. But Alex, we plan to move in the next 5 years. Let me look at the table. You're saving $13,000 in interest. Okay, what are the next steps? I'll send you pre-approval instructions.
Yeah,
it's all numbers.
It becomes a math problem.
That's all it is. And I tell them, I said, take emotion out of it. It's literally a math problem. If the numbers make sense, you do it. If the numbers don't make sense, you don't do it, right? You're not looking for a home. There's no realtor involved. There's no attorney involved or inspection involved. It's me, potentially an appraiser if we need it, right? And just numbers. And people love it. And I have so much experience with 2020 and 2021 with everyone refinancing, which was a good time.
Did a lot of math problems.
A lot of math problems.
What today? I feel like lenders are getting a little more tight, like asking for a few more things here and there. How's the lending environment a little different than it was, call it 2-3 years ago? Obviously rates are up, but just the overall getting deals to the finish line. Have you seen a change there?
Excuse me. I haven't seen a big change at all, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I think it depends what company you work for. I think it depends what type of underwriters you work for. I think it depends what type of team you have doing the pre-approval, pre-qualification, and reviewing everything. But on our end, debt to income ratios haven't changed or anything like that. I would say it's a dramatic difference from the housing crash, but not much has changed over the last 2-3 years.
What's next with BRRRR? Are you doing more since that condo?
So right now I'm negotiating on a flip that I think makes a lot of sense. And after that, I'm just going to take it deal by deal, and depends what comes across my table. Do the numbers make sense? Is it in a good area? Do I want to go there? Do I need the cash now? How's the mortgage advising going? Cause it's been slower the last 2 years, right? I'm not making the same income I made this year or last year compared to 2020, 2021. There's peaks and valleys all the time. Coaching has obviously helped, me coaching others and having an income. But I think it's more, again, not having an ego or not having a preconceived notion of I'm doing this. It's like, okay, what deal comes across? What can we negotiate? What are the costs for it? Okay, how much cash flow am I going to get? Do I need the money? can I take that money and roll it into another deal? So it's just using the knowledge I have and the resources around me.
Yeah. What's the, call it 5-year, 10-year plan? Like, where do you see you have, you're in different baskets here. Are you looking to get out of lending and just do investing, or are you looking to double down on the lending side, the coaching side? Where do you see this going?
Yeah, I would say, I wouldn't say double down. I would say continue doing what I'm doing. I truly enjoy mortgage advising because I truly enjoy educating and helping people. That's first and foremost. It's a direct parallel with coaching, right? It goes hand in hand. I learn, I help other individuals. It doesn't take a lot of time, usually about 6 to 8 hours a week. And I just love real estate. I wish I would have gotten in earlier. Like, I'm that kind of guy that, I bought my first condo at 28. I wish somebody would have taken me and physically shook me and said, no, you idiot, go buy a multi-unit.
Yeah.
And I say that to other individuals in a nice way without physically shaking them. But I share my story, right? And I would have wished I kept that condo, but unfortunately it was split block, which I was not educated about. The realtor that sold, it's like, you got water damage. How the hell do you know I got water damage? Look at this angle, look at the lines on the wall. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Right? So I sold for a lot less than I wanted to, still made a great profit because it was Ukrainian village. I don't know if you guys remember, it was 2017, Redfin came out with the article saying it's the hottest neighborhood in the country. Yeah. We had a duplex down. I literally yelled to my wife, hey, you ready to move? She's like, what happened? What's going on? Is everything okay? I'm like, do you like money? Yeah, I like money. We're moving. And it was just like, because I knew when people saw that and read that, they're just going to flock to Ukrainian village, overpay. And what's crazy is that condo is sold 2 full times. I got it at $350. I sold for $472. Now it's sold for over $600 now. I mean, it's just nuts, but I wish I would have kept it, but I had issues. So it's just, continuing and doing what I'm doing. I really think this coaching gig is really going to take off. The mastermind behind it, Amir and Justin, are amazing. We have a creative content creator who is just freaking amazing, that teaches our community how to make reels, how to do the green screen talking, how to do a B-roll. So I went through all my cameras of all my, golf trips and airplane sitting in the window seat of the clouds, and it's just like a 7 to 10 second video. You capture their attention with it, with, a hook, little me, and then, hey, caption, all the details in the caption. So all these stuff I didn't learn, and I'm learning from this coaching program, which is cool.
Good stuff. Ready to wrap?
Ready to wrap?
Let's do it.
What's your competitive advantage? How have you been able to do all of you've done while others wish they could?
I think it's my upbringing that we talked about. Just growing up differently, living in an apartment with no hot water, no bathroom in Latvia, Russia at the time, growing up pretty poor, and just the athletic competition. My wife always asks me, why do you always seem like you're kind of got your head on a swivel? I'm like, I always have a chip on my shoulder. It's just the way I was raised till this day. It's like I'm always looking out, kind of how we talked about coming down here, right? Just always have that in the back of my mind, and I think athletics helped a lot as well.
We need to get, what he's referring to is we need to get a light down here, because we were recording before and it's dark down in the underground. You just come down this dark stairs. You don't know where you're going. It's all right, what's going on here?
It's not even like a fire safety set of stairs. It's like if we had to rebuild that, they would not let us build that staircase.
It's narrow. It's a little wobbly.
I got to add a sign. The sign will change it.
All right. There you go. What is one piece of advice you would tell someone that has yet to buy their first property here in Chicago?
Buy as soon as possible. Get with a lender like me or a different lender that could educate you. Get with a realtor that could educate you. Know the facts, know your options, and get in the game. There's not a lot of homes out there. Rates are high. Everyone's waiting for rates to come down. As soon as rates come down, the buyers are going to flood the market. There's not a lot of inventory, and home prices are going to go up. I bought in 2020. My home has gone up 40% since then. It is freaking ridiculous. I didn't do a damn thing to it. But I did take, going back to a previous story, is I did take a HELOC, home equity line of credit, to buy that investment property I talked about. And it's all because of the market, because I got in the game. Don't wait. Don't listen to your aunt. Don't listen to your uncle unless they're a successful lender or realtor. Surround yourself with educated people. Get in the market as soon as possible.
What do you do for fun?
I love to golf. I love to hang out with friends. I love to be with my daughter and wife. My goal is for my daughter to be a golfer. So I try to bring her as much as I can. Hey, let's ride around the cart. Let's grab a hot dog. I really focus on after we golf to, have either dinner or an ice cream or something like that. because that's really what she's going to remember. But I love golf. If I could go back, I would have played golf instead of football. And that's crazy to say, but I love golf that much right now. It's so challenging and interesting.
All right, favorite course in the area here?
Favorite course is the one I belong to, the Glen Club in Glenview.
Yeah.
It is a freaking amazing course. I talked to a lot of members there that have been there for 10, 15, 20 years, and I asked them the question, do you ever get tired of it? And they're like, not once. And they have the Corn Ferry Tour there at the end of July. Highly recommend to check it out. 𝗬𝘃𝗲𝗀𝗏 won in 2020. I think Cameron Young won or came in second place, but it is an amazing course. They throw an amazing event. Highly recommend to check it out.
All right. What is a good book, podcast, or self-development activity you'd recommend to our listeners?
My favorite book that I think changed my life was, it was 2013, 2014, towards the end of my career in New York Life, was called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. And the whole point of it was just don't
Yeah, it's like a white and blue cover.
Yes.
Yeah. It's come back to me.
It's an amazing book. It literally changed my thinking. And it's just like, for example, there's the trash. You're like, oh, I'll take it out later. No. Take it out right away. Whatever comes to mind, go knock it out. Don't procrastinate. Don't put it on your to-do list. Just go knock it out. And it just makes you have just a lot of encouragement to get stuff done. Highly recommend that book.
Oh, I have to read that. I love it. It's like a get stuff done.
It's a good one, yeah.
All right, awesome. Name one person in your local network that you'd highly recommend to other Chicago investors.
Ooh, that's a good one. I would say the guy that showed me kind of how to invest his name's 𝗬𝘃𝗲𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗏. He's with Kale Realty. He does that as his second job. I won't put his business out there and say what his first job is, but it helps protect us all. And he's just a great individual. He has a great heart, and he just knows how to find deals. Great individual.
Good stuff. We'll link to him in the show notes. All right, Alex, thank you so much. You provide a ton of value to our listeners. How can they learn more about you? Is there any way they can provide value to you?
Absolutely. I would say let's connect on social media, Instagram. My Instagram handle is my first and last name, Alex, pronounced Filin. As I shared earlier, fill in the blank, but one L.
I wrote that down.
So it's Alex Filin Lens. I'm on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. Just providing a lot of education, and I really enjoy conversations, even if you're not looking to buy. Just have questions for me. I love tapping into that.
Man, I have to. It's my my passion right now. Instagram. I just started my new one about 60 days ago, and my own first personal one. Like the amount of conversations I've had in the messages, or the DMs, whatever you want to call it, has been more than I've gotten anywhere else. There's been so much fulfillment of helping people and connecting with people. We found a couple of guests that are lined up for later on this month. It's just been awesome.
Just think about how much time you save too.
Yeah.
Right. It's a different platform. That's what we talked about earlier. The virtual shelves. You just put yourself on those virtual shelves and you open up for people to reach out and connect with you.
Yep. All right, good stuff. We ready for our Chicago Facts?
Ready?
Who are we playing for and who's sponsoring?
All right, so we're playing for Dawn. I'm going to butcher the last name, 𝗬𝗃𝗃𝗀𝗏𝗃. Dawn, if you, maybe they're Russian, maybe.
Nah,
I don't know.
Polish, no.
It's Polish? I don't know.
I'm going to guess Polish.
Yeah.
All right.
Someone who grew up in Dunning, that's Polish.
All right, Don, we're playing for you today. If you get this right, you get $50 gift card brought to you by today's sponsor, 𝗬𝗃𝗃𝗀𝗏𝗃 at Lavelle Law. I never am confident on his last name. 𝗬𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃. So it's not as many.
All right, so I think you can get this one. So O'Hare originally was called Orchard Field. Which year did it first open to commercial airline traffic? And your options are 1948, 1955, 1962, 1969.
So we got to pick a different one. So we at least stand a
I'm
chance.
guessing as well.
Yeah, double up the options. So 48, 55, 62, 69. First open to commercial airline traffic.
I'm thinking 69.
I would have said 62.
We going with those?
Yes.
55.
Really? I could have swore it happened during the
Sorry,
Daley
Don.
administration. Oh, man.
Like 48 is too close to the war, right? That one's...
Well, it started off as an airfield, and
Correct.
then it turned into...
Also, I would have just done a golf question had I known. Or
Yeah.
To tie those two together, the Glen Club was built on a naval airspace.
Really?
Glenview.
So it's right there where they turned the shopping, or they turned that airfield into the shopping?
The Glen, the
Yeah,
shopping center.
that's so cool.
So all those homes there were built in the early 2000s. So funny when I golf there, there's usually about 3 homes that are getting their roofs worked on. Because, roofs are usually 20, 25 years.
Yeah,
So it's
that's-
either brand new roofs, they're working on it, or that one
Next.
needs a new home or a new roof.
Done. So we'll throw your name back in the hat, and you get another chance of us getting that. Thanks to our sponsor, Chance at Lavelle Law.
All right.
All right, man. Alex, thanks for coming on here. Tom, thank you as always. Listeners, I'm going to throw something out there. If anyone goes on there, leaves us a 5-star review on iTunes, and then you send me a snapshot of it, we'll send you a straight up Chicago investor t-shirt. We'll see how many people really listen. I might be writing a check here.
Dude, yeah, we got like 100 t-shirts, but we might.
Well, let's see. We'll see. The shipping will be
2,500 listeners a week. So
let's see. So, all right, we'll see. They'll pay off in different dividends if that actually happens. So throw it out there. Leave us a 5-star review and then send me the snapshot, straight up Chicago investor at gmail.com. Otherwise, please share and like us everywhere we can. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, listeners. We'll see you next week.